Welcome to this edition of the Mayor's Report for Livermore. I'm your host, Splen Splendorio. Joining me today is Mayor John Marchand from that incredible city of Livermore. Welcome, John.
Always a pleasure to be here, Splend.
All right, great. John, start of the show, you have something you have to get out. Tell us about it.
Well, it's more of the fun stuff that's happening in Livermore. You know, Livermore is leading innovation throughout the nation, actually. So recently we had the East Bay Economic Development Alliance, East Bay EDA, had their awards program. And there were two awardees from Livermore. We had Inertia. Inertia is a company that's been created by Annie Kircher, who was one of the original directors behind the NIF fusion ignition, and Michael Dunn. And so they were recognized for innovation at the East Bay EDA Awards for leading the charge on Inertia, which is behind commercialization to scale up fusion technology to actually produce energy on a commercial scale. So they're right here in Livermore, recognized for that. Also recognized was LIFT. That's the Livermore Institute for Fusion Technology, and that's a consortium from Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory and a whole bunch of other folks to create this fusion technology hub, which, once again, California and Livermore are going to lead the charge on that. We've got some great legislation coming down from Senator McNerney going through the state, and it looks to be very exciting because, once again, we will be leading the nation on fusion technology.
Great, John, thank you.
Sure.
But we're going to highlight something new, the inaugural Tri-Valley Twist Weekend. And please don't tell me that Chubby Checker
I will not break into song.
Okay, so tell us about what is the Tri-Valley Twist? Okay,
So a lot of the other events that we've had have been more city-centric. You've got the Wind Festival for San Ramon. You've got the fair in Pleasanton. Well, what this is, the Tri-Valley Twist, is it's going to be focusing on a lot of the fun things throughout the Tri-Valley. So we're highlighting our renowned wine country, our vibrant downtowns, the culinary scene that we have, all of the cities, and also the arts community. So we've got these signature events that are going to be occurring. It's from June 5th through June 7th. There's going to be tastings. There's a culinary competition on June 6th. There's going to be performances at the Bankhead Theater. It's sponsored by Visit Tri-Valley, and other sponsors include Wente, Fremont Bank, and Mirador Capital. So we've got it's going to be in Livermore, Pleasanton, and Dublin, other cities of the Tri-Valley. On Saturday, June 6th, there's going to be this culinary competition at the Bankhead Plaza, and that's going to start at noon. And then at that evening, there's going to be the Livermore Amador Symphony is going to be performing at the Bankhead Theater as well. So they can go to visittrivalley.com to find out more about the event. And for the events that are at the Bankhead, they can go to livermorearts.org and get more information. They can go to the events on the 6th, and then at the same time, also on the 6th, we've got the 100th anniversary, the 125th anniversary of our light bulb. Oh, so wow. You can celebrate the wine, the culinary expertise, the arts, and the world's longest continuously burning light bulb, all on June 6th.
Well, John, you also tied into the subject of fusion, the awards that the EDA did. So having fusion and showing how 125 years ago had a light bulb that has been lit since.
Well, and that's one of the fun things. When you look at, it was 60 years from when John Knuckles first proposed that there could be inertially confined fusion ignition. It was 60 years until we got to finally achieving that here in Livermore. Livermore is the first place on earth where that happened. And when you also stop to think that the first powered human flight at Kitty Hawk. From the time there was the first powered flight, which, by the way, was less than the wingspan of a 747, we put a man on the moon within one lifetime. That's pretty phenomenal.
Pretty phenomenal. Pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
John, let's talk about what things that the city of Livermore has been working on with other agencies to, just some positive action to take, for not only our ecology, but for businesses. And the first is recycled paper bags. Tell us a little bit what the program is there.
Yeah, so we have recycled paper bags. This was an ordinance that was passed in 2012. And the idea is, I don't know if you remember, but you saw plastic bags blowing everywhere. And it's funny, in American Beauty, in the film American Beauty, there was a scene where they just filmed this paper bag flying around in the downtown. And it was like this really cool sort of scene. But that was something we all became very commonplace to see these. You'd always see them hung up, and I'd see them hung up in the rose bushes at the Hanson Garden. So I'd stop and take them out of the rose bushes. So this is something that was, these were ubiquitous. So we passed this ordinance in 2012, and so that you either had to bring in your own canvas bags, and that's when everybody started giving away canvas bags everywhere. And then you could buy the plastic bags, the heavier plastic bags, or buy a paper bag. And then the pandemic hit, and they didn't allow you to bring in your own bags anymore. So again, it's very frustrating, but the idea was to cut down litter, cut down the impact on wildlife, because you had animals that were tied up or stuck in these things. So restaurants can still offer paper bags at no charge, or you can get the thicker plastic bags for 10 cents. But the main thing is just bring your own bag. It's real simple. I've got a stack of bags in my car, so wherever I go, I've got the bags to go, because it does reduce litter. You're reusing these things. When our parents were going to the farmers markets, they always brought their own bags. Right. And or the really cool ones would bring a basket. They had the big wicker basket. Right. Those were the cool ones. But it was something that we've just gotten lazy. But it's just so easy to just keep a stack in your car.
Now, you mentioned restaurants. Can people, I assume they can bring their canvas bags if they so choose to pick up their food? Right,
they can do that. The restaurants can still provide them for free. One of the problems you run into is you don't want the soup to leak into your canvas bag.
Okay.
But yeah, they can still provide the bags for free.
All right, so continue. I'm just trying to keep ourselves a little more healthy, though. Yeah. Is that Livermore Sanitation is giving away free compost. Tell us about that program and where our Livermore residents can go to get compost, or they can hopefully either benefit their garden or benefit their shrubs.
So this is the compost giveaway is really completing that cycle. We all recycle our kitchen waste. We all recycle our green waste from our garden. We do our pruning and whatever. It all goes into the green waste. Well, what this does is this completes that cycle, because what happens is they take all that green waste and compost it. And then once a year, Livermore Sanitation has a compost giveaway, a free compost giveaway. I've actually seen people ride up on their bicycles, and they've got the little trailer in the back.
Oh, wow.
They pull this trailer, and they can pick up their 2 free bags of compost. Most of the cars, you'll see the cars line up. It's going to be on April 18th from 8 to 12. Get there early. It's at 7000 National Drive. But this completes the cycle, because all that green waste that you put into your container that's been composted, now you can get 2 free bags and take it back to your yard, dig it in, and it'll help your garden. If you can't make the event on April 18th, what you can do is you can go down to, we have 2 free compost hubs. Now you've got to bring your own containers. You'd be amazed how many people I meet down at the compost hub, and I'm down there shoveling my compost. I bring my own bags, and people are like, "Oh, wait, you're the mayor, aren't you? What are you doing here?" I says, "I do my own gardening." So you can pick up either at Asbury Methodist Church. You go into the back.
Which is on East Avenue, yeah.
On East Avenue, and you can get, there's a free compost hub there. There's also one at Crosswinds Church, right there on Friesman Road, just to the east of the Premium Outlets. And you can pick up free compost there. Just bring your own bags. But the idea of completing this cycle and taking the compost and digging it back into your yard.
Wow. Okay, John. Let's talk about the connection of our creeks and storm drains and talk about Alameda's clean water program and how folks can be aware of it and also keep things out of the bay. Basically.
Sure. So a lot of people think that the storm drains go into the wastewater treatment plant. They don't. Our storm drains just drain into the flood control channels and ultimately into our creeks. So anything that's on the street ends up in our creeks. So the idea is only rain goes down the drain. I've been astonished. There are people that actually will dump motor oil down the storm drains, thinking, well, out of sight, out of mind. I don't have to worry about it. One gallon of oil can contaminate multiple Olympic-sized swimming pools with oil. And so we need to make sure that only rain goes down the drain. We have free oil recycling. All you have to do is put the container out by your garbage can on your pickup day, and they will recycle. They'll even leave your containers. But take the oil, have it recycled. Any litter that ends up on the sidewalks and the streets, that ends up down in the drain, and it goes down into the creek. So make sure that you sweep your sidewalks, especially after fertilizing, because the fertilizer will wash off of your lawn and into the storm drain. There's a wonderful word called eutrophication, and that's when you have too many nutrients in the water and you get these algae blooms. And the algae blooms eventually they start to rot and they die, and it's just an unpleasant circumstance. So it's up to all of us to protect our environment, to protect the creeks, and we do that by making sure that we watch after the streets and the storm drains and make sure that only rain goes down there.
All right. Thank you so much, John Bell. We need to take a short break. We'll be right back on this edition of the Mayor's Report for Livermore. Welcome back to this edition of the Mayor's Report for Livermore. We are here talking with Mayor John Marchand. Welcome back, John.
Good to be back.
Hey, John, on March 31st, there was an incredible conference, I guess for lack of a better word, called that Innovation Tri-Valley, iGate, and the Livermore Lab Foundation hosted, called Energy Unleashed. And it was at the Bankhead. Tell us a little bit about it and what exciting things you learned from it.
Well, first off, I was the lead-off speaker, so that was very cool. I was able to welcome everybody to this event, and we really had the opportunity to bring together a number of the industry leaders. We had Kim Budil, who is the director for Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. We had Kate Gordon, who's the CEO of California Forward. We had Michael Dunn, as I mentioned, from Inertia. He had a fabulous panel with Brandon Cardwell, our Economic Development Director, and talking about some of the exciting innovations that are taking place in that fusion space and how Livermore really can become the fusion hub. You talk about Silicon Valley, as Ed Moses coined us, as Photon Valley. Because this is where we've achieved fusion ignition. So very exciting, talking about the emergency technologies. There was a really interesting panel with some of the industries, like Bay Area Council was there, and the former CEO of Monarch Tractor, and they talked about the regulatory environment and how the state very often will get in the way of allowing industries to do what we actually want. We want sustainable communities, and we want job creation, we want investment, but a lot of the regulations that the state has actually impede that, and they don't allow you to do things. One of the great things that Mark talked about from Bay Area Council was we have these priority development areas, it's PDAs. And so these are areas we want to focus our development. And at the same time, we have 15 different single-purpose agencies like the air quality or water quality. And if you overlay the air quality agencies maps and the priority development areas, they don't match. So in other words, the air quality requirements will not allow you to develop in the priority development areas. So a lot of these things that are conflicting, and this is why a lot of companies will innovate here and create here, but they can't manufacture here because it's just too difficult. So a lot of these folks, we had a great panel as well with, we had LAVTA, the Livermore Amador Valley Transit Authority. We had Christy Wegener there. We actually had Stephen Dunbar, who you know is one of my council members. He also works for Gillig Bus. Well, Gillig makes electric buses. They can make hydrogen-powered buses. Alameda County AC Transit has hydrogen-powered buses. So we talked about the environment and how you grow these industries. We also had Valley Link. Now, Valley Link had originally talked about creating a hydrogen-powered train. Right now, it looks like more it's going to be battery-powered, but talking about that changing environment and the importance of what cities do is cities create the environment and the ecosystem that allows these innovative technologies to thrive.
Right.
So it really was a fascinating conversation. And we finished it off, we had Kim Budil speak about the future of fusion and where we are and what we need to continue to move this innovation technology ahead. So really interesting. That was a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of industry leaders, and I was very proud of the fact that that was right here in Livermore.
Yeah, well, you should be very proud. That's what a game changer it really would be if we could commercialize fusion energy, isn't it?
Well, this is what we have referred to as the holy grail of energy, and the fact that Inertia, the company was recognized by East Bay EDA, they are seeking to do exactly this. How do you scale up the fuel cells? For example, the fuel cells right now that they use for the whole ROMs, those are $50,000 each. Yeah. Now, if you have to burn through 10 of those a second to sustain fusion ignition, well, that's economically not viable.
A bit of money.
So how do you actually commercialize these things, and how do you scale it up?
Right.
And that's what Inertia is doing right now. Very exciting time, incredible technology and incredible innovation. Really smart people are working on this.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, John, let's talk about something I know is quite close to you, and that's the relationship between the city and the Chamber of Commerce for Livermore, which is called the Livermore Valley Chamber of Commerce. Right. I know you've sat on the board for a very long time.
I came back.
You came back, yeah. Let's talk about how does the city work with the Chamber and what the advantages that each side gets out of it?
Well, okay, so we work very closely with the Chamber. We coordinate activities. As you know, my State of the City is coming up, and that's done through the Chamber of Commerce. So they provide a great insight into the needs of our local businesses, and one of the reasons that I am on the board of the chamber, and it's curious, there are actually chambers where it's written into their bylaws that they do not allow the mayor to sit on the chamber board. And I think it's incredibly valuable because, first off, the networking opportunities. Right. We have a lot of mixers, we've got a lot of events that the chamber, ribbon cuttings. You can't believe how excited people get that the mayor took time out of his day to show up at the ribbon cutting for a new business. They're extraordinarily proud of that. I'm kind of tickled when I walk into a business, and when they do a ribbon cutting, I bring a certificate of welcome, from the mayor's office. And a lot of times in the businesses, you will see this sitting at the front counter because it meant so much that I took the time to welcome that business. Well, the reason I take this time is because when businesses succeed, my community succeeds because they reinvest in the community. And to me, that's really important. And that's why we have this relationship with the chamber and our business community, because it allows them one-on-one time with the mayor. And that's something that a lot of people think is extraordinarily valuable. I think it's valuable because it sets up a sense of pride in the community that, yeah, he cared enough about business to be here. And of course, the chamber also promotes our businesses. We've got the Livermore Marketplace phone app. We've got the website that we have. So the chamber is doing a lot to promote the businesses, and however I can help out, I think that's also my job as well.
Right.
To grow the businesses.
That's great. That's a great segue to upcoming events that I know you want to highlight for our viewers.
Sure. So we've got a couple things. We've got on Wednesday the 15th, tax day, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Livermore Police Department has a free scam awareness presentation. There's a lot of folks out there that are trying to get your money.
And the connection to tax day is just happenstance.
Yeah, okay. Right. But it's astonishing to me. I get multiple emails a day. Now, of course, Lawrence Livermore Laboratory, millions of times a day, people are trying to break into the laboratory computers. Millions of times a day. I had a program on my computer that allowed me to find out where people who were trying to break into my computer, where they were pinging in from. I tracked this one from Hong Kong to Russia, to Germany, to Canada, and finally trying to ping into my computer. And so there's always people out there trying to scam you. And I've seen some stuff, it really looks good. I mean, it looks like it came from my bank. Now, I've gotten some from banks that I don't even have business with, but it looks really good. So you got to be aware. And what's interesting is a lot of times the grammar or the spelling is bad. And it was the guy that runs this program told me that they select for people that aren't paying attention. So if you answer this scam that's got bad grammar, they figure that you're preset as a mark. Yeah. So that's going to be 7 to 9 on the 15th. It's going to be at Cedar Grove Community Church, 2021 College Avenue. I learned how to recognize fraud and stop it. Also on the 18th, we've got from 1 to 3 is the Korean Culture Festival. It's going to be at the Livermore Library. The Korean American Parent Association, they have performances, they have food, they've got dances. It's really a lot of fun. And then Saturday, also the 18th, from 9 to noon is the Earth Day Turf Conversion event. And that's going to be at Madera Park at 4th and School Street. And they can actually go on to the Eventbrite or on the city website. And they're going to be, it's a volunteer event, and they're going to be converting the non-functional lawn into a more water efficient, climate appropriate landscape. So if you got nothing to do on the 18th, there's a lot of stuff going on. 9 to noon, you can be at the Earth Day conversion for the turf, and in the afternoon at the Korean Festival. A lot of stuff going on.
Thank you so much, John, for being here and updating us. And thank you for watching this edition of the Mayor's Report for Livermore. Join us for the next episode of the Mayor's Report right here on Tri-Valley TV. I'm Splendorio. Thank you so much for joining us.